Thank you so much, Magda, and thank you, Kocharya, for this opportunity. So let me quickly introduce myself. I am Neeraja Ganesh. I'm a mother to an 18-year-old girl. When my girl turned 13, somebody came to me and said, good luck. She's just started the troublesome teenage years. But keep at it, because it will finish off when she turns 20. I told her, you don't know, teenage strikes in early these days. I'm already having the teenage trouble from her, maybe when she was 10 or 11. But I am looking forward to her turning 20 in the hope that teenage doesn't go beyond 20. I'm also, of course, a wife. I'm a daughter-in-law. We all live together in Bangalore, which is in the southern part of India. Professionally, I work at National Education Society of Karnataka. Have I been an educationist all through my life? No. I've had 25 years of a corporate career in the IT industry. I managed IT delivery for large banking clients, and I quit my corporate life in 2017. I went on to head a not-for-profit foundation called the Jobs for Her Foundation, which has been established to bridge the gender gaps in our country, India. Now you know where this passion of talking about the next gen women leaders comes from. I moved out of the foundation last year, not necessarily in terms of doing work for them, but I am no longer employed with them, but I continue to support them in whichever way I can, because I realize that why should someone get into a career 5 years, 10 years into it, and then realize that they lost out on something because they were not aware. So I decided that I would try and create an impact and catch them young. I wanted to do something in the youth space. That's how I am in this role with National Education Society of Karnataka, which has 17 educational institutions under it, starting from primary schools up to undergraduate courses and postgraduate courses. My role is to build the Industry Academia Connect so that we can get the industry experts to review the curriculum that we offer to the students of today so that it is relevant and these students can get into the workforce as soon as they graduate out. They don't have to look around for other kinds of courses to upskill themselves beyond what the college offers, and the companies don't have to invest in more training when they go and join them. Beyond this, as I'm really passionate about developing leaders, definitely women leaders, I do a lot of leadership training and coaching. I'm associated with 2 organizations in that space. One is called Inroads Leadership Development and another is Quinergy. I also freelance and offer a lot of trainings and workshops. I am associated as a mentor on a variety of portals. One of them is Aspire for Her, which targets girls in the age group of 18 to 25 to look at intentional career building and financial independence for them. I also am associated with another not-for-profit foundation called as HopeWorks Foundation, which works with underprivileged girls, especially from the 8th to the 12th standard, because these girls don't really see any hope for themselves. And HopeWorks Foundation is looking to instill this hope in these girls. Every girl should be hopeful for a better and brighter future and dream and reach their aspirations. Beyond which I am a speaker at a variety of conferences, and that's another reason why I am here today. Over to you, Sneha.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Sneha Ganesh. And as mentioned before, Neeraja is my mother. I am a first-year undergrad student studying math, statistics, and computer science from Christ University in Bangalore. I love writing, and I have a published book out at Amazon called Muskan, The Story of Her Smile. Apart from this, I'm an avid public speaker, and I do a variety of public speaking events. I also do debates and etc. I love talking to people too, so I'm really happy to interact with all of you here. Apart from this, I currently also work at Aspire for Her Foundation, where I lead alliance management for the foundation.
Great. So it is a privilege and honor to be on this panel together, mother and daughter.
Absolutely.
Whose continue to talk at home, but this is an opportunity for us to talk in front of so many people. At the moment, 36, and I'm hoping that we will have more as time goes by. And Magda, whenever you think it is the right time, you could launch the poll. But meanwhile, I do want to kind of maybe through the chat, get a few expectations from people. I mean, why are you here at this session? What do you want to kind of hear? What did you think you're going to hear from the two of us? If we could get some sense of that, we will see that we do justice to that. Anybody who wants to, put out in the chat? Other than the fact that they've come to cheer us. I'm glad to hear that also.
I will launch the poll in a few minutes. Sure. Just wait for the poll to come. But I want to hear what makes this generation that I keep talking about is amazing. What makes it different than other generations? So I'm curious to hear from Sneha about that. And I'm curious to hear from Neeraja what you've done differently as a coach specifically that resulted in this amazing woman who is doing some awesome stuff at her super, super young age. So that's me. But yeah, everybody else, please let us know.
Okay, so there's someone here to cheer us. That's really nice.
Yeah, Anna wants to hear about women empowerment from a young leader.
That's nice.
Thank you, Anu. Yolanda, definitely to cheer you and be part and taken. Great.
Feel free to drop it in. We look forward to wanting to know what all of you are actually here for.
Okay, I think the silence is kind of setting the stage for our conversation, Sneha. So hopefully, we will get to hear from them as the session progresses, and we'll be happy to take on any comments and questions. Anu says, how about you two compare notes on women leadership, your time and her time? Thank you, Anu. I think we're going to do that. And we'll definitely try and respond to Magda in terms of her expectations. We have Aradhana saying, learn the tips and tricks of raising an empowered child. Well, I hope I can do justice to that one. All right. So this is my story, my career story, my leadership story. I grew up in an extremely conservative Tamil Brahmin family. For those of you who are not from India, let me tell you that the Tamil Brahmins come from the southern part of our country, and they are a conservative community, and my family was even more conservative. So my parents did all the right things in terms of educating me. They provided me with the best of education, the school education and college education, but not with the intention of me taking up a job, let alone having a career. The only intention that they had was that I should have the basic education required. And as I finish off with my undergrad studies, they would be looking forward to getting me married and having me happily settle down in a family life. Also because of the conservative family setup, also because of the various do's and don'ts that were there at home, I grew up to be an extremely meek, timid, and shy girl. I studied in an all-girls school till my 7th standard. And then we came to Bangalore, which is in the southern part of India. And I got enrolled into a co-educational school, which means we had both boys and girls in the school. But I didn't find it to be any different because the girls in our school went about doing their own stuff and the boys went about doing their own stuff. They didn't even realize that there were girls around. So we were like two species completely. But when I joined the 11th standard, we had students across about 50 odd schools joining the college. And there were about 100 students in every class, in every section. And there were 5 of us girls from the same school who had joined this college. So we became a close-knit gang. People used to call us the famous 5. So those of you who've read the Enid Blyton, I don't know if the current generation reads that, but we were called the famous 5. And over a period of time, more girls came and joined this gang, maybe because they thought us to be cool. And more boys came and joined this gang, and it became, a gang of about 15 or 20 of us. We used to hang around during the breaks, in the school, the college ground, etc. And one fine day, one of the boys from this gang invited us for lunch to his house. Now, it was an exciting thing for some of us because we've never gone to, a boy's house for lunch. I'm talking about an era which was 30, 35 years ago. So, if you're finding it very surprising, and also the fact of, being from a conservative family and the school which had girls, and even though there was co-ed, the boys didn't talk. So it was a big thing for us. But I knew that my parents would never let me go to this boy's house. Why? Because it's a boy's house. How can a girl go to a boy's house for lunch? So I told my friends, you all go ahead. Enjoy yourselves. My friends kept at it. They said, why don't you ask your parents? Why don't you ask your parents? At least try. So finally, I went ahead and, very meekly, I told my parents, there's this invite for lunch from this boy's house. Everybody else is going. Can I also go? My mother asked me a few questions. Who's this boy? Who all are going? Where is his house? What time will you finish up? Who is there in their house? And probably she also took, the number, the landline number. I'm talking about an era where we didn't have mobile phones. So maybe his landline number, etc. And then she said, okay, go. I was shocked because I didn't expect her to let me go. But now she has said, go. I said, let's not, think about it. Let's just go. And went and, enjoyed the lunch and came back. And I'm sure I never thought about this incident till such time that I became a parent and my girl, got into mind and then started, putting all kinds of demands, all kinds of wants, which I couldn't resonate with. And there were 100 no's that I gave her. And then this particular incident came back to my mind. I thought, how come my mother, who is so conservative, said a yes? And then I realized that it was probably the questions that she asked me. The reason why she would have probably been saying no to many of the things is because of maybe a lack of trust, but also because of being protective about me. But because of those questions that she asked me, which I took in the right spirit and answered and gave her all the information that she needed to make the decision whether to let me go or not. And she realized that it was a safe place to go to and, it's fine for me to go. She allowed me to do that. Sneha, I'm sure that, in your growing up days, there have been many no's that you heard from me and your dad. I can recollect the number of arguments and fights and the banging of the door and, the number of days we wouldn't speak to each other after an argument. And I really wish and hope that we have overcome all those emotions at this stage in life. How was it for you when you, got a no from us?
Absolutely. I have not had the always easy life. I haven't always had her saying yes to me. There have been enough and more disagreement, enough and more arguments. And one incident I can very clearly remember is when I wanted to publish my first short story in the form of a book. It was a pretty short story, and it was something I'd written with a lot of love and a lot of hard work, and I wanted to make sure that I put that book out because I wanted to make sure the world knew that there was this writer called Sneha, and I wanted everyone to read what I wrote. So I took what I had written and I went up to my parents. I told them that I wanted to publish this book in the form of a book. And she said, I don't think you should do it. And I kind of still kept at it saying, I really want to do it, please. But no, the answer still continued to be no. And the reason she gave for it, she said that publishing a book is firstly a lot of expenses. And considering it's something really small that you've written, it's not worth spending all that money on because people may not really pick it up from the shelf because it's something so small. Of course, I was angry. Of course, I was irritated. I really wanted to have that book go out, but I was determined. I did not want to give up because I really wanted to have people reading what I wrote. So I decided that I was going to figure a way on my own now. I went, I did a little bit of research, a little bit of reading up, and I figured that there was this process called self-publishing that also existed, wherein I did not have to take the traditional route of publishing and actually go through all those steps and all that expense. So after a few YouTube videos and some tutorials, I kind of figured the entire process of self-publishing a book and set on that path. There were a few things I had to learn because I had to do everything on my own, starting from designing a cover to formatting, editing, and so on. And I did it. I spent time, I learned, and I did all of it. And I finally had that book ready to get published on Amazon. I actually thought I'd probably put it out on Amazon and then go and show it to my parents, just surprising, see, I managed to do it. But then there was this little hurdle that came up. I was supposed to give like the bank account details, so when people buy my book, the royalties come into my account. And I was pretty young at that time, and I did not really know if I had a bank account and what the details of my bank account were. So I had to end up going back to them. So I went back to my mom and dad, and I said, I need a little bit of help over here. I was all prepared for arguments and fights because I knew they told me not to do it, and I'd still gone ahead and done it. But surprisingly, there was no fight at all. It went very smoothly. I went and told her that I have done this. It's all set to get published. I just need a little bit of help with the bank account. And she said yes. She helped me with the bank account details, and I put the book out. And the book is currently available for all of you to read on Amazon in case you're interested. It's called Muskan, The Story of Her Smile. I will drop the link in the comments very soon too. So after this, I was pretty excited that I got my job done. But when I thought about it later, I was a little surprised and curious. So mom, just like you said, you know, your mother, you were not really expecting her to say yes to go to your friend's house for lunch. Similarly, even I wasn't really expecting you to say yes so happily and not have any arguments and fights. So why is it that you suddenly figured that you wanted to say yes and help me out at this stage?
You know, Sneha, I was like, wow, she did it all by herself. Though for those of us who work, you know, you would have always either heard your manager say, or you would have said this, you know, to your subordinates, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution. That's exactly what you did. I mean, you went one step ahead. You actually implemented the solution by publishing it all by yourselves. That made me realize how deep your aspiration to publish a book was. That also made me realize how responsible you were and the responsibility that you were willing to take to go ahead and publish your book. And hence, I really felt the need to support you, to say that I think I need to be with her in this journey. When she has taken the steps to reach this far, I must do what I can do. Just, you know, simple opening of the bank account and giving those details onto the form and, you know, help her in her journey to become a published author. So I guess the message that we would like to give to all the young girls out there and to the parents out there is that one must awaken to the fact that you need to build trusting relationships. To be able to do anything in your life, and of course with your career, you need a lot of external support, starting from your own family, your well-wishers, and then the rest of the ecosystem. So it is paramount that you build trusting relationships. And how does one build trusting relationships? Trust comes from having an open communication. So if you were to recollect my mother's questions, the reason the questions were asked was because she wanted to know more. There were probably certain fears and some worries, and by me answering those questions, those worries probably got subdued. So what usually happens with the youth of today is that, you know, if you were to look at a scale, when a no happens, when, you know, you're not really wanting to answer all these questions, you know, that are being put to you, either you go to one extreme of the scale and you kind of go subdued, or you go to the other extreme of the scale and you become a rebel. What I would invite you to do is to kind of take the middle path. Like, you know, I was okay to answer the questions. Or like Sneha, she said, let me try and do something and show something to them. Take the middle path, empathize with them. whether it's the youngsters that I'm talking to, or I'm talking to the elders, empathize with the other person to try and understand is they are coming from, because of which there is a no, because of which there's a hesitation, and talk to them about what you know about the situation. I mean, you are aware that you can do this and you can still be safe. Whatever their worries are, try to kind of calm them down, and you will have them with you. You will be able to build their trust. Open communication definitely builds the trust, and with the trust comes the support that is required for everyone, to kind of grow in their lives and grow in their careers. So that's my and Sneha's first message, an awake message, that one needs a lot of external support to be able to go ahead in life.
Absolutely. But here, what we were talking about is a very important message, that this is an external factor, something external that will help the women go forward in their life and career. Along with this, there are several other internal factors as well that inhibit a girl or a woman from going ahead, stepping into those leadership roles, and breaking the glass ceiling. What do you think are some of those very important, or maybe some of those most crucial internal factors that holds a woman back?
Sure. Before I answer that, I'm just looking at Vinita's question here. Sometimes it is not in your control, building trusting relationships. I guess it is more about trusting your own self and be ready to face challenges at any point in time. As a woman, we always think it is the ecosystem around us which supports our growth. To an extent, it is true, but beyond that, it is just yourself. For a woman or a girl, it is more of knowing we are not immune to any trouble in life. I like that, Vinita. I definitely agree that, you can't have the rest of the world, doing stuff for you. And there's a lot that you also need to do. The point that I was trying to make, it is important, and it becomes much easier if you have allies with you, be it, at home, be it outside. And I think I will come to that point that Vinita has raised, answering your question, Sneha. So if you were to ask this question to anybody, there will be a list of things that they will talk about. For a woman, they will say, okay, she lacks confidence, she has self-doubt, she has a lot of guilt, and the list is endless. But I would like to talk about what is, infamously called as the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is something that both men and women, deal with, cope with. But the way they respond to it is different. And hence, it's a bigger challenge for a woman.
So what exactly is this imposter syndrome?
So the imposter syndrome is something that a woman thinks that she is not ready for the roles or responsibilities that she has been asked to take on. She feels like a fraud. So she might have been given a particular opportunity, a challenging assignment, and she thinks that she's not yet ready, but it has come to her maybe purely due to luck, or maybe because somebody favored her. And by taking on that responsibility, the imposter keeps telling her that there will come one day when people around you will get to know that you are not ready for this job. You are just faking it. And because of that imposter continuously telling her you're not ready, you're not yet there, you are a fraud, what happens is that she kind of doesn't give her fullest to the job that on hand. And hence she kind of, goes down in her performance. And then the rest of world, says, yeah, she was not ready and we gave her the role, and, and then kind of talks about it, generalizing that women are like that. But it's true. I mean, imposter syndrome is there for everyone. It's there for men, it's there for women, more for women, because the response that a woman gives to the imposter syndrome is like that. Like it is there for me also. For example, every time I get invited to a conference to speak, the imposter syndrome kicks in, and I say, are you sure, Neeraja, this is a topic that you can talk about? Are you sure you can face this kind of an audience? Maybe you go up on stage and everybody will see through you that you are not yet ready. They've just brought in somebody who's not at all capable. It is there. It's always there. Sneha, the minute, Magda and I were exchanging emails in terms of, what is it that, I should be speaking at this conference. And then one fine day she said, what about you and Sneha together do this, session? And I walked into your room and I said, Sneha, Magda thinks that both of us together should do this session. And I was so surprised with your response. You said, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. I mean, did you not feel, something like an imposter syndrome kicking in?
Honestly, at that point, absolutely no. And I'll tell you why. I was not always this confident, super outgoing girl that I am right now. When I was in 10th, we had this award, the Student of the Year award, that is given out to the best outgoing student in that batch who has excelled in all aspects and respects within the academic year. It's a very prestigious award and something that all of us really look forward to getting. So throughout the year, we'd work towards it and do whatever it is that we can so that we can get the award. I was someone who throughout my school life was pretty good at my studies. I would get pretty good marks generally at the top of my class and stuff like that. So I assumed that me being good in my academics and doing exactly what I need to do to make sure that I stayed at the top of the class was more than enough. And I felt that probably doing this is also enough to get me that prestigious award. But I was met with a huge surprise. And at the end of 10th grade, the award was given to somebody else and I wasn't even mentioned. And that got me thinking. I mean, I thought I was all set for the award. Why did I not get it then? And then I realized that I had paid attention to only one aspect. It was only the academics. There were the other aspects which are also needed for a holistic development of the student, like extracurricular activities, competitions, sports, which I had done nothing in. And that's when I realized the importance of this, and I was determined that I would never let this situation repeat itself. From the very first day of 11th grade, I went in with the complete determination that whatever opportunity comes my way, I'm going to put my hand up for it. It could be anything, any competition, any fest, anything. My hand is going to go up for it. Doesn't matter if I don't know how to do it, I'll figure on the way, but I'll do it. And at that point, so as I was doing this and I ended up putting up my hand for half the things that came up in college, my English teacher had noticed that I spoke well on stage, and she ended up signing me up for a debate competition in an external institute. Now, I was super scared. I had never debated in all my life. I didn't know what it took to debate. I had never done it, so how could I actually go and do it, especially representing my institute? So I went and told my teacher that I really don't think I can do it. I mean, how could you feel that I would do a good job? I don't think I should do it. Let's give it to somebody else. But she said, no, I want you to do it. I registered your name and you're doing it. So I said, okay, because the fact that I had determined to say no to any of the opportunities, I said, let's go ahead with it. I went for the event and I was really nervous. I was nervous even when I went up on stage to actually deliver my talk. But I think I did a good job. And at the end of it, to my absolute surprise and delight, I had won the debate competition. And that moment was that changing point. I figured that, I mean, if I had actually said no, and if I had done something at that point, to just like tell my teacher, let's give it to somebody else, let's do something so I don't have to go, I would have probably never reached this point. If I hadn't done it, if I continued doubting myself all along, and probably never gone for any of the competitions, it wouldn't have helped. So when I won that debate competition, it gave me the confidence I needed to continue debating. After which, any competition that came up with regards to public speaking or debating, I was the first person who went. I kept winning at all these competitions till the point where I actually went to the district level to debate and I won even there. And that's the thing. If I had doubted myself and continued to kill myself with that self-doubt saying, no, I cannot do it, this would have never happened. And that is exactly why I said yes when the Skocharya event came up too. Of course, I have never spoken at a global conference before this, but when am I going to get the first chance then? I got the opportunity here and I said, okay, let's go. What's the worst that can happen? I'll go and I learn how to do it. And here I am.
Sneha, I'm sorry to break your flow, maybe, Neeraja, but Sneha, is this a generational thing? I resonate with your example, and I think you're awesome. But yeah, talk about the broader ladies that you know in your, and the ladies you work with aspire for her, because I assume that, a lot of them are as amazing as you.
So let me kind of take that. I don't think it is generational. I think it is human. Okay, that we start that way. It is not even gender, because in whatever discussions I've had with men also, they've said, of course, we also face it. So it is there, and that's what I was going to say. That the imposter lives within all of us. It is about the response that we give to that imposter. And somebody has very nicely said that there can be imposter moments, but don't make it an imposter life. So the response that we give when the imposter kicks in and says, no, you're not good enough, don't do it. And of course, it comes from the self-doubt. It comes from the fear of failure, some of the comments that I saw. So it is universal. I think it is there for the generation, girls, boys, it is there for the older generation. I don't want to call myself old, but whatever that is, it is across all of us. Let me tell you my story. I said that even now I have the imposter, kicking in whenever there is an invite. So I remember, a few years ago, somebody approached me, and the person was talking about the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the USA, the MIT, that runs a global innovation challenge every year. And he was telling me that, they need jury members because it's a global competition. So you need to kind of evaluate them at the regional level, and then they take it up to the global level, and they need jury members. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, this person is going to ask me to refer jury members because I'm so well connected, and, I can find, the right people. I was already thinking of names when this person said, Neeraja, I'm here to invite you to be on the jury. And I said, what? Of course, I didn't say that to him, but in my head, that's what came. Who am I to be on the jury of such a prestigious competition, MIT, and then a global innovation challenge? I have not done anything innovative in my life. And this is what happens. I think it happens to everybody. If it was some years ago, I would have said, no, let me put you across to the right people. But what I had tailored my mind, I had kind of, tweaked my mind, is not to say a no. Mark my words. I'm not saying I had trained my mind to say a yes. I had trained my mind not to say a no, which means that I bought some time. So I would say, okay, let me think about it, and go back, take a few hours, few days, whatever it takes to think about, as Sneha said, what's the worst that can happen? And if the worst that can happen is something that you can deal with, cope with, then go ahead with it. That time that you buy kind of lets you, do the pros and cons and ensure that you kind of take a decision which will help you move forward. Well, I didn't do that, and I trained my mind not to say a no, and then I've kind of reached a position where in my mind I've now decided I'm going to say yes to any opportunity that comes by. So I did say a yes to him. And after that conversation, I could not sleep that night. I said, what have I gone and done? I've said a yes to him, but am I really that capable? And I didn't sleep. Anyways, the next morning went about my life, and a couple of days later, I kind of calmed down. And then there is this email that comes from MIT, which says, we need your picture, we need your bio, because we want to put it up on the website, and we're going to announce this on the social media handle. And I said, oh my God, now the world is going to know what a fraud I am. Who is Neeraja to even evaluate, all these applications, these fantastic people, individuals, companies who, putting out innovative solutions out there. But I have already committed. So I, sent my pictures, sent my bio, and again, spent a couple of days really, struggling, and then calmed down. And then finally, the day it went out on social media, I was a mess. I thought, now people know I'm a fraud. So it happens, Magda, and to whoever else had the question, it happens to everyone. I don't think it's a generational thing. It is about how you respond. And you have to train yourselves to respond to it. And you can have your own mechanisms. I think the best one could be to kind of buy time, because the immediate response is, I am not cut out for it. Let me say a no. So buy some time if you can. In the way I said, maybe, don't say a no, say, let me think about it. Let me see if I've got anything else, more pressing, say some invite comes and I don't know if I can really, deliver that session. I'll probably say, let me just look up my calendar, because there were a couple of other appointments, and, then, think through. Because the way I dealt with this particular thing is I said, okay, let me do some research on how someone evaluates innovation. Maybe there is a scientific way to do it. And of course, I had some experience of my own, in whatever work I've done. I read up a lot and I said, I will learn. And with the learning, we will go ahead. And what also helped is that I was part of a jury, right? So I'm not the only judge. So even if I messed it up royally, like in my thought, I thought XYZ is top and, ABC is last, there are 10 other members who will kind of normalize it. So, all of that gives you strength and support and, you can move ahead. That's the response and the answer to the questions in terms of, is it universal? It is, but it is about how you respond to it. Don't make it, an imposter life is what I would say.
I think another thing that all of us can do here is be aware of our abilities and our strengths. Each one of us know what exactly we're good at and what we're cut out for. So believe first, get to know what you are good at. Do that self-introspection and figure what it is that your skills are. And once you're done with that, believe in it. Trust in your own abilities. And I'll say this. So this is a message both of us would like to leave all the girls and the women listening to us here. This is the message we want to leave with all of you. Be a self-critic, no doubt. You're going to be your best critic, of course. But always remember that this self-criticism should only be something that helps you improve and move ahead, not something that's going to hinder your progress and pull you back. You never have to be 100% perfect to take on anything. I mean, honestly, I don't think you can ever be 100% perfect to do something. You're 60 to 70% confident that you can do it, pick it up and go ahead with it. You most probably just learn the rest of it as you're growing in your career or whatever else it is that you've taken up. Because if you sit and wait to attain that 100% perfection, there's a very high chance that the role which you were trying to make yourself perfect for is picked up by somebody else and gone. And then you'll find the next role, which will again say, okay, I'm 60% ready, let's make myself 100% ready, and that will also go. And the same way, everything will keep going, and you will never be able to take on any opportunity. So it's okay if you're not 100% there. You don't have to be, and I don't think anyone's ever going to be also. Go in with whatever levels of perfection you have, go in with the mentality of learning, and you'll figure the rest on the way.
Surely. I'm just looking at a lot of comments which are coming in. I'm so glad that this is turning out to be interactive. Let me see if there is a question or a comment that we would like to read out for the rest of the audience. Vinita again says it's more of exercising a choice at any given point, applies for every aspect of life. Like we have all faced this, being quiet around a table and thinking, he just spoke what I wanted to and why didn't I? Yes, then you know.
Absolutely.
Right? Yes, and training the mind, Bala is saying, training the mind not to say no. What a powerful statement. Yes, there's a lot of training that we all need to do, in terms of how do we, and each of us has a different mechanism to cope with it. And I'm not going to give you a guide. Each of us has to find our own ways to do it. But I think, buying time is, something that can help when you are, in the midst of, you just don't know. And over a period of time, you'll get better at it and you'll have other strategies to deal with. Smita, of course, resonates with what's the worst that can happen. That answers most of our self-doubts. Great point, Sneha. Yes, of course. What's the worst that can happen? You just mess it up, right? That's okay.
Yeah.
Another opportunity that will come your way. So we'll keep the interaction going, but I'm again, going back to Sneha's question around the internal conflicts in a woman, which kind of stop her from progressing or taking on the next opportunity. So we already spoke about the imposter syndrome. Now let me go back to my story, right, where I told you that all my parents wanted me to do was study and then get married, and there was no talk of work, no talk of career. But here I am with a 25-year corporate career. And then, I did 18 months with a not-for-profit foundation, and now, almost a year with an educational institution, and then heaps of other things that I said I do. How did that happen? So when I was finishing up my undergrad, I knew that my father was going to start the search for the groom. So it used to be an arranged marriage, and I think arranged marriages happen today also. For those of you who don't know what an arranged marriage is, it is about the parents trying to find the best match for you. Don't get scared. That also works, because you do get a chance to talk to this person that you're supposed to get married to and figure out whether there is some compatibility, and then go ahead and take the plunge. And I knew this was going to be a longish process. So what I did was I went and asked my father, while you're looking out for this guy for me, can I, study a little bit more? And that was, the era of the IT boom. I'm talking about the early 1990s. So I said, there is this course from this good institution called NIIT. It's a 2-year course, 4-semester course. Can I, pick it up and, study? My father said, okay, you can study, but the caveat was that if a boy comes along and he says that you should stop your studies, get married and settle down, so-called settle down, then you should be okay to, stop. So I said, okay, we'll figure that out, when the boy comes. The fact is that he's approved. And I went ahead, and I started my NIIT course. So it was a 4-semester course. And when I was in the 3rd semester, there was a company which came and picked a few of us, about 12 of us, on contract assignment. Now, all the others who were picked up had only 3 semesters. They had signed up only for 3 semesters. So they were just going to finish it up and, get on this job. But I had a 4th semester also to do. So I went in, and I also, got that contract position. But this company was working in shifts. So there was a morning shift, which was from 7 to 3, and there was an evening shift from 3 to 11. And they had put me in the morning shift, maybe because I was a girl and they didn't want to put me in the late night shift. And secondly, I had this 4th semester. The classes used to be from 3 to 5 on alternate days. It should have worked very well, right? But it wouldn't work, because I'm talking about the early 1990s when none of us had computers at home. So we used to have 6 hours of class, which was 4 hours of theory and 2 hours of practical, which I'm sure all of you agree is just not sufficient to learn. So we used to hang around at the institute on the days we had classes, on the days we didn't have classes, looking for a spare PC. Sometimes there would be break hours, sometimes there would be absentees in a particular lab class, and we would, get hold of that PC and practice. Which means that I really can't, do a particular shift in this company, because you never know when somebody is going to be absent, when there is going to be a spare PC. So that left me with 2 options. One was to kind of say no to this opportunity which came by, say no to the company, and finish my 4th semester, because how important it was for me to do that course and complete it. My father had said okay for me, and he had said, you will stop it if the boy comes and he says don't study. So I couldn't have left it. The other option would have been, that I decide, let it go, the 4th semester, let me go and see what happens after this 3 months of contract. But I decided a third thing. I said, let me go and ask. So I went back to my manager and I explained the situation to her. And I said, see, it is impossible for me to do any shifts just because of this. Is there something that can be worked out for me? And she said, she thought about it and she said, okay, we will give you a dedicated PC. While the rest of the team will come in shifts, we understand what you're going through. And hence we'll give you a dedicated PC. You can come in at any point in time and go to your institute whenever, as long as you finish all your work, you meet the deadlines that are stipulated, and you adhere to the quality standards. So, none of this flexibility that I'm giving should impact the work delivery. So I said, fantastic, and I took it on, and took a long story short, I finished the 3 months of contract, actually extended to 9 months, and I finished my 4th semester also, and at the end of it, all of us, the 12 of us who had been, inducted as contractors, actually got permanent employment in that company. If I were to look at a few years ago, there was a situation at home where I felt the need to kind of get some additional help to run the kitchen. Basically, I needed a cook. I don't cook. Some of you know me very well. I don't cook. It was my mother-in-law who was running the kitchen. I used to help her a little bit. But I realized that it was getting tough for her. And my work pressures, were increasing. I was having a lot more travel to do. And there was a lot of this guilt sitting on me saying that, okay, fine, I'm just running away and somebody's managing the kitchen. So I realized that we need some help. Again, I and married into an equally conservative family, there was, I'm sure, there was no way they would have said, cook? Yeah, no way. But I said, let me go and ask. So I did have, a chat with my husband and my father-in-law. Answers were no, of course not. What are you talking? And all of that. The only support that I got was from my mother-in-law because she understood the pain. But I kept at it and finally negotiated and got an okay from my father-in-law and my husband saying that you can bring in someone, but that someone will have to comply to these 100 things. There was a list that was given to me. I was okay with it because at least we got an approval to get a cook home. And I said, let me go find someone who will comply to these 100 things. And I found that someone. And what that did to me was kind of, take off a lot of pressure. It kind of gave me peace of mind so that I can go about, looking at my work and other responsibilities without thinking of, is the kitchen being taken care of, is good food being served, and when I'm on travel, what's happening and things like that. So, that's something that I definitely want to kind of talk about, ask.
It was that hard for us to get the cook home. Oh my God. Anyway, since we're on the topic of asking, let me tell you a little story of where even I realized the importance of asking. So as I told you a little while ago, I had gone into college with a complete determination that I was going to put my hand up for every competition and every opportunity that came. So the first thing I did was go and find out what were the cultural activities that our college conducted, who was in charge of this, and how could I go about participating. After a little bit of asking around, I figured that my college did not have a cultural committee. I was stunned. I was like, oh my God, okay. Since I really wanted to make sure that, the cultural activities and all that happiness comes, I said, I'm going to start the cultural activities in the college now. So there was this one teacher who was appointed for cultural activities, but not that much happened in college because there weren't too many people who were interested in it till that point that I came across. So the first thing I did was make good friends with that teacher because I knew I needed her to help me whenever I needed something. After this, I knew many friends in other colleges and I started speaking to them because I knew they had fests in their college. And as and when fests started being conducted in those institutes, I asked them to start sending invites to my college. And because the invites came in, so of course, as an invite, somebody has to go. I would say I will go. So I would bring in the invite, give it to my college and say, okay, we got invited, so let me go and represent our college. And I would go and I would generally do a good job. So I'd go for stuff that I'm good at, stuff that I'm trying to learn. I'd go do a good job and I'd come back with a prize. So my college is also very happy. And the other students started seeing this too. And because of this, of course, when the external invites are coming, there's also a chance that you can have competitions inside your own college. So as I started doing this, I also started speaking to my teachers slowly, saying, let's start involving other students. Because it shouldn't be only me. I'm pretty sure there are many others who are interested in the activities, just not speaking up and asking. And this way, I started getting a bunch of other people to join me, and we formed a little cultural team using which we started going and representing different institutes, representing my college in different institutes for competitions. And slowly, we also managed to get the proper cultural committee established in college and had a full cultural fest of our own where we invited other institutes too. So what am I trying to say here? If I had not asked my teacher at that point what's the status of the cultural activities, I would have never known it was in this situation. If I had not asked for permission to bring those other colleges' invites in and start allowing me to go and participate, I would never have gotten the opportunity to shine the way I did. And it's not just this. The fact that I went for so many competitions, be it sports related, be it extracurriculars, and be it anything else, also simultaneously making sure my academics did drop, that Student of the Year award that I had missed in 10th, I actually won the Student of the Year in my 12th grade in college. And that's how I realized how important it is to ask.
Yeah, I was saying absolutely important message. Please do ask without worrying about the consequences. What's the worst that can happen? You will get a no. So you're not worse off than what you were already at. The best is that you'll get a yes. Or the midway. Like for me, my father said, okay, go study, but then you'll have to stop if the boy says don't study, right? So I think we have to keep this fundamental message of what's the worst that can happen, to deal with the imposter syndrome, and to ask and say, let me understand the worst, and I think I can deal with the worst. Let me go ahead with the flow. And I will tell you this, majority of the times, it will be a positive outcome. Taking that risk will definitely turn out to be positive. There could be a few times when there are glitches. One needs to be prepared for that, because you've already asked the question, what's the worst? So you will have prepared for the worst. But majority of the times, you are only going to progress and proceed, and see better outcomes for yourselves. Stevie Wonder said, if you don't ask, you don't get. It's as simple as that. So then you cannot really blame the whole world, right? We also say that it's a crying baby that gets milk. So that is it. You've got to ask. So let me ask if any of you have anything to say or ask questions to us. And I'm seeing comments here. Again, Vinita, I've seen women turn around with a lot of confidence when pushed to a corner with nowhere to go to. It's that moment which will change a woman's life. Most of us do not know how we would respond to such situations, and that response is what changes our life. Educating a girl child and treating her equal to men at home is so very important. Most of us get used to being a victim of the situation for many reasons and fail to realize that we are one. Yeah, I agree. But the point is that, do we want to always keep thinking of ourselves as victims, or do we want to, look at ways to kind of come out of the situation, help ourselves, rather than waiting for the entire world to try and help us? Let me see if there's any more commentary or questions. Srinidhi says, the greatest advice I have ever heard till now in life is knowing when to say no. And now listening to your perspective made me confused. Okay, so maybe Srinidhi, this is, the point where we say that in organizations, people might keep dumping work at you, and you have to, put a stop to it, to say that, okay, fine, no, I can't take on more than this. That's a different perspective. Here we are talking about asking for what you want, right? It is not about saying no to opportunities. If you look at something as an opportunity and you are saying no because you have that inbuilt fear, a self-doubt, that's what we're trying to say. Don't say no. But if it is that your plate is full and there is someone who's trying to, put his work and her work and all of that onto your plate and, trying to, get the best out of you, and he or she is kind of chilling out, then you should, probably, say a no to say that no, have the conversation and pick out the best opportunities out of that. Don't say no to everything, say no to the ones which is not really going to take you anywhere. I hope, you kind of got the answer to that. Preeti, I'm glad that you're liking this session. Love the self-critic, help yourself to improve, move forward. Let me see. Okay, Ram. My wife and I watched a movie called Sneha on Sunday night and followed that up watching a documentary on Ruth Bader. And now this, how wonderful has this week been? Thank you. Thank you for, putting us on the same pedestal as, the others. So I'm glad that, this is resonating with all of you. Okay, let's move on. Something very important is emerging from all these discussions. It is something that Sneha and I spoke about during our preview that we did last week. Did anyone catch us on our preview? I'm curious to know if people actually watched our preview and hence have followed and, have come to this session. Okay, Ram, you did. I'm so glad. So,
that's nice.
Did. Brinda was there. Oh, great. Since you did, now I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you remember, the message and, the story that, or the message, more important, the message, the story doesn't matter, that we were trying to get out in our preview?
You can put it into the comments and we'll check it out.
Women leadership. Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Women
Yes.
A very specific aspect of, women leadership. And if you've forgotten, don't worry. I'm glad that you
Okay.
session, because you saw the preview, and we will repeat it for you. Okay, let me not, delay this further. See, we always are told, and we have also observed, and it is a fact, that there is a gender gap. No doubt about that. It's spoken about that there aren't as many opportunities for women as there are for men, right? But I want to turn it around and say, what stops us from grabbing those opportunities which seem to be there for the men? And we already spoke about the imposter syndrome, which is one of the factors because of which we don't grab opportunities, or even if we get opportunities, we don't perform as well. And the second aspect is we don't ask for those opportunities. So if it's going to a man, why don't you go and say, hey, I think I'm also, or it's going to another woman, and you want to kind of, take it on. We don't ask. But what about creating opportunities for ourselves? I think that would be the best thing to do, to kind of ensure that there is no more gender gap. Instead of waiting for opportunities to come by and then asking and grabbing, why don't we create opportunities for ourselves? So from all these stories that I heard, Sneha, you narrating about how you created an opportunity for yourself, maybe at home by, publishing the book, and you became an author, published author. So that was an opportunity you created for yourself. Or at college, where you created the opportunity of starting the club and the cultural committee, and then finally winning the student of the year. Is it easier to do, to create all these opportunities, in your schools and colleges, now that you've been working at Aspire for Her for about 6 months? Has it been difficult for you to create opportunities in the workspace?
I wouldn't say easy or difficult, because when you want to create that opportunity for yourself, you will just find a way to do it. Let me take the examples of what I've been doing at Aspire for Her and tell you. So how did Aspire for Her come about? The lockdown had begun, and I had absolutely no clue when I was going to get admitted into university and when classes were going to start. So I decided to pick up this 1-month internship at Aspire for Her Foundation, and they were a newly formed not-for-profit, and they were looking to get campus ambassadors who could spread the word about the organization and try to get more people to join them. So I said, okay, I picked up the opportunity, and along with spreading the word, we were given a few small tasks to do on a daily basis, and we had to report on completion. Very simple job, and I said, yes, I'm learning something new, and I went ahead and did it. But since it was a new organization, it was growing literally every day. So there was always something new that one could do, always something one could suggest, so that there's some way that the organization grows and progresses. And I started, since I was part of the team, I started speaking to them. We started speaking to each other, and we started looking at what we could do in order to help the organization grow and improve step by step. And for this, so when suggestions were coming in, somebody has to implement the suggestions too. So I started putting up my hand to do it. I said, so new suggestions come, let's try out how to do this. And I started doing it. So in this way, of course, I did have a little more responsibility than whatever I actually signed up for. But since I was learning, I was more than happy to do it. And I continued doing this. I kept taking on newer projects, newer, smaller tasks to do. And after about a month, so it was a 1-month internship that I signed up for. And after about a month, as my campus brand ambassador internship was coming to an end, I got a call from our founder saying, I'm really happy with your performance, and I would love to have you on the core team of the organization. I was pleasantly surprised. And that's how I moved on to the core team of the organization, and I started handling social media strategy and content STEM. So I did this as per whatever I was supposed to do because of my role. So I had a little bit of the strategizing of social media content for different platforms, cooking up content and stuff like that. This was something that I did. This was my responsibility, and I did it. But again, I did a little more than that. It's a newly formed organization, and we're looking to grow and expand. So I started looking at possible organizations and companies that we could probably collaborate or join hands with, that we can grow together. And to do this, so as I told you, I do love talking, and my mom's like this power networker, so I picked up a little bit from there. Even I do my bit of networking. So I started speaking to my network, to the people I knew, and I started telling them about Aspire for Her and speaking to them in a way if there's possibility of actually collaborating and joining hands. And in this way, I managed to get about 3 to 4 such organizations to actually become proper alliances of Aspire for Her. I did this simultaneously, the role I signed up for, the social media strategy. After about a month and a half of doing the social media strategy role, I got another call from our founder. He said, I've been seeing you do all this great work with actually managing alliances with other organizations. I think you should move from social media strategy and take up another role to lead the alliances. And that's how I did it. I created this opportunity for myself. If I just stuck to what I'd been told to do as part of each of my roles, I've done a good job at it, no doubt about it, but I would not have grown. So I created the opportunity for myself to progress, learn, as well as help the organization grow. And it's exactly through that I also created the opportunity to be on this platform today. I was talking to Magda as part of my role that I manage alliances because I was looking at a possible collaboration between Coach Arya and Aspire for Her. And Magda heard me speak and she really loved whatever I did. Because after that, as you know, Mom got the email and I'm here today speaking to all of you.
Wonderful. And the message that I would like to also give people is that yes, you can create opportunities within organizations, but it is also important for you to create opportunities outside of your organization. In my intro, I think I had a longish intro, which probably would not have lasted this long had it been 4 years ago. I would have said, okay, I'm a director at Capgemini doing this. How is it that I've managed to create these opportunities for myself beyond the organization that I work for? So let me give you the most recent example. So I'm now consulting with this organization called Quinergy. I mentioned they are into leadership development. So some of you may know Jacinta, a good friend of mine who also works on some assignments with Quinergy. Quinergy was thinking of launching a series of webinars the minute the lockdown happened on a variety of topics, and they wanted to do a webinar on women and leadership. So they asked Jacinta to recommend someone to be on the panel, and Jess called me and she had someone in mind, and she said, I know that someone, so I told you I can connect people. So she said, can you please ask that person if she would be okay to come for this webinar. So I did call up that other person, and she declined because she was busy and she couldn't come to the webinar. So I went back to Jacinta and I said, she is not available, but if you want, I can definitely recommend a few names. And then I also said, I can also be available for the webinar myself, if that's okay. And if you think that, I'm the right person. And Jacinta said, yeah, of course, why not? Let me talk to Quinergy. And, she kind of introduced me to the CEO of Quinergy, and we got talking. And during the conversation, CEO suggested that I think women in leadership is such a vast topic that one webinar will not do. Let's do a series. So we'll do 3. And I signed up for all the 3 webinars. And even before the second webinar had concluded, the CEO was talking to me saying that, there's this, opportunity that I would like to present to you, which is about taking the women leadership development program that we have to offer to, larger corporates and networks and to the masses, and whether I would come on board to kind of help with that. So that's how I say, one can create opportunities for yourselves. I have a tagline where I say that treat every interaction as an opportunity. For example, this interaction that we are having with 30 people watching us is probably an opportunity that it can translate into an opportunity for any of us. So please ensure that you're really, really treating it well, and you do your very best at any kind of moment that you are part of. And hence, I think a message that we would definitely like to give to all people attending this session today, definitely to the young girls and the women out there, to rise in their careers, is don't wait and watch. Your career is in your hands. You can shape it and take it to the direction that you wish to. So ask for those opportunities and create those opportunities for yourself and for others. So, when Magda suggested that Sneha and I should be speaking at this And we were thinking of, what is it that we should speak about? One of the things which keeps coming back to me for sure is that people say, oh, Neeraja, you're so inspiring, you're a role model, and we wish to, follow your steps and, reach where you have reached. They also tell me about Sneha, and they say that, she's so very different, and, she's so mature and so responsible and a leader in the making. I think from all these stories, you'd have realized that we are also, girls and women like any other girl and woman that you would see out there. We've also had the same kind of challenges, maybe internal, external, but it is through these messages and storytelling we thought that we would tell you that all of us can become, if you call it awesome, inspirational, all of us can do that. And all of us can be the next generation women leaders. And hence we thought, instead of preaching and say, ask, create opportunities, we thought we would do a storytelling format today and make you realize that all of us can do it. And it's just, a few of these things, if done right, you can kind of, get there.
Yeah, there are quite a few things that one can talk about when it comes to women and careers and how women can break that glass ceiling. But when it comes to becoming the next generation leaders, the future leaders who people can look up to, there are just these few points, few things that you need to actually be mindful of so that you can get there. Firstly, it's important to be open and communicate in order so that you can build that trust with everybody around you. Next, always make that imposter your friend and never let it get the better of you. Most importantly, ask. Ask for whatever you want. Because if you don't ask, you're not getting it. Remember, what's the worst that can happen? And lastly, look around you. Treat every interaction as an opportunity. And make sure that you create an opportunity for yourself. You have to create these opportunities. So make sure that you do whatever it takes from any situation to create those opportunities and grab them.
So when Magda said, and as Magda was asking, and all of you were, asking questions and sharing insights, I think each of us, every girl and every woman is a leader in herself and can, go ahead and make a better leader and ensure that, we have a better world out there with no gender gaps and no differences. And we thought these are some of the nuggets from our experiences. I won't even say wisdom. It's all from our experiences that if we kind of work on, we can actually transform ourselves into the next generation women leader. We are happy to take any comments, questions, discussions, debates. This was our experience sharing, and we'll be happy to hear from you about your experiences and take this conversation forward.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes, please, Magda.
So I'm big on the very practical things that we can do today or tomorrow or this week. Can you tell us, everybody who's attending here, if we have a young woman in our life, what can we do today? What can we do at the end of the week? What can we do on an ongoing basis to best support her?
Absolutely. I'm sorry, but I always tell stories. So let me tell.
No, don't be sorry. Stories are great.
So, so I told you 25 years of IT career. Some of here, of course, Aradhana's worked with me and, she kind of will know. I quit in 2017 from the corporate world. And there was a question that somebody had in terms of how and why I quit. But before that, let me talk about 2016. It was the year when my organization asked me to put out a recommendation to hire women on a career break. And I thought it was a very strange, ask, because you have to hire women, you have to hire men, you have to hire women on a career break. So what's the big deal? Because I had never taken a break. I couldn't really empathize with that situation or, that set of women. So I did some research, I Googled, and I found out that there are portals, job portals exclusively for women on a career break. And I put out a recommendation in terms of what we should do. And since I had done that research, I was signed up on one of those portals. And I got invited to a conference that they were holding, and I went there. And that's when I started listening to these women who had taken a career break and were trying to restart, in terms of how hard it was for them to even get to an interview. And then at an interview, you get, grilled around, why did you take a break? Why should I hire you? You have a break and all of that. That's when I realized I want to do something. That was a moment of truth for me. I want to do something. I didn't know what it would be, but in my head, I had decided I will do something. The best thing that I could do was pick up a few CVs from these women who were on break, and I went back to my organization and I floated it, and I ensured that, I got them interviews. But the thought kept, I need to do something. I need to do something. Which means I was looking out for opportunities to do something. And it was okay for me, even if I'm able to, impact one woman, it was okay for me. And I think that's what I would like to tell people. Many of us have these, gala plans of, okay, we need to impact 100 lives, million lives, which is okay. I mean, you need to, but let's start small. Let's start with one. And as you said, let's do something today and in this week. So I looked around, and there was jobs for her who had advertised for ambassadors, like, what Sneha was talking about, Aspire for her. So there's another organization where you can join in as supporters and, help girls. Or if you are a girl in that age group of 18 to 25, you can become a member. So I said, I'll become an ambassador and let me do what I can. So I went around talking about this platform and how women on a career break can make use of this platform to, get those opportunities, kind of transform themselves, regain the confidence, reskill themselves. And slowly they saw, the leadership that I brought, and they said, will you come on board as a mentor? And I went on as a mentor, and I actually mentored. I didn't just put it on my LinkedIn profile and say I'm a mentor. So I actually mentored every girl that was on the portal. I went on from mentoring road shows, whoever I met, I kind of mentored them. And slowly, eventually when I left the corporate life, I went on to head the jobs for her foundation. So I will say act. If you feel the need, and you will feel the need, look around, and there are plenty of ways to impact the girl. There could be platforms like Jobs for Her and Aspire for Her. There could be girls, around you in your neighborhood, your daughter's friends, or, your somebody colleague's friend or daughter or anything like that. Sit down and have a chat with that person. Even if it's one person, you can take on for the next 3 months in terms of, seeing what challenges that they are having. And you can kind of, with your experience, you can, guide the person. And before I know, in 2020, I don't even know how many girls and women I have impacted. And the idea was not to impact those numbers. The idea was to ensure that I do what I can because of the experience that I have and the capacity that I have. And things will, keep going. So my 2 points will be act. The time is now. Don't keep waiting for the universe to, create a situation where there'll be 100 girls that you can, bring together and talk to them and then, kind of transform. Do it right now. Start with one person and you will see how, it kind of grows. Sneha, anything you want to add?
Not really. I completely agree with the point on acting. And again, I'd say grab opportunities or create an opportunity, but make sure that you do something for it today. Do something, act on it today. Do not push it off. No procrastination. There's a question for you in the chat, Ma.
Sure. Let me look at it. Preeti says, you're coming from an IT background, how to work on maintaining that relationship while you try to explore opportunities outside? So, this is a great question on networking, and I do a lot of sessions on networking, and this is what I tell people, right? It is about relationships. It is not about what I can get from the other person. It is about what you can give to the other person. And that's the only way you will keep the relationship, you'll build the relationship, you'll nurture the relationship, and at some point in time, it is going to give back to you. So ensure that you do not cut off completely from whoever you have come in contact with. Just because there is no transaction happening between you and the other person now, or just because you feel that person is not going to give you anything. Or, when you decide to go and be part of a network or, broaden your network, you only look at people who can possibly give you something, maybe a job or, something else, a reference, etc. Look at how you can provide value to the other person. The minute you start thinking of it like that, the relationship will automatically develop and it will be a genuine relationship. And in doing so, you will maintain that relationship for a long term. And at some point in time, that relationship will also give back to you. Right? So my story about how I got entrepreneurship. So that's an opportunity that came to me, but I was not thinking about it. My story about how did I go and hit the Jobs for Her Foundation. When I started off, being an ambassador for Jobs for Her, I never even imagined that, I will want a role with Jobs for Her Foundation at some point in time. It was a very genuine intent of doing something. And I genuinely did that, because of which I created this goodwill and this huge network with the ambassadors, the mentees, and whoever else I came across. And eventually, the role also happened. So keep building relationships. Of course, as I said, you kind of have to have the trust, and the trust will happen only when the genuinity is seen, and don't make it a selfish, need. See how you can continue to, help the other person, impact the other person, and it will definitely, nurture the relationship and grow your network. Okay, there's nothing in the Q&A tab.
There was another question I noticed. Let me just pick that up. How can one self-realize that the tenure served in a company is enough and we must explore outside? And how to put off those fears of leaving a company where you served for more than 10 years?
Okay, how can one self-realize that the tenure served in a company is enough and let explore outside, and how to put off those fears to leave a company which served for more than 10 years? So, again, I'm going to quote from Apurva Purohit, my favorite, author. If you've not read her books, please do read. The one which I'm talking about is Lady. There's one which is Lady You're Not a Man, and the second is Lady You're the Boss. And in Lady You're the Boss, she speaks about this. We women, we think that companies cannot run without us because they make us feel like that. Okay, they say, you're the best. If you are not there, this thing wouldn't have gone into production like this. And maybe you are that good. But the point is, that stickiness that then comes in makes us, feel extremely guilty that if I move away from here, then I'm actually doing something wrong to the organization that has given me so much. And what will the organization do without me? But you are not realizing that you are not helping yourselves in that. You go away, they will find somebody else. Maybe they'll struggle for a month. And do it in the right way, right? You find a replacement for yourselves and move in. You have the conversation, upfront to say that, look, I'm stagnating here. Either, I can definitely look for another better opportunity here if it presents myself. I'm going to give you, and me 3 months, 6 months down the line. Otherwise, I will look out for an opportunity or something of that sort. Give that heads up, build, second command, but ensure that stickiness goes away. So it is not that you are being extremely patriotic, to the organization. You just don't want to get uncomfortable. You are in a comfort zone. You are in a sweet spot. Things are running well for you, and you feel a little hesitant. The imposter is going to tell you, hey, come on, yaar. Why do you want to take something else? Maybe you'll fail. Here, everything is going good for you. Everyone's talking well about you. And that is the reason we don't think about moving out of the company, moving out of the roles. So my answer to you, Bhuvana, is going to be that ask yourselves how, she also says, how deep is that ambition and desire in you to grow from where you are into where you want to see yourself? If it is deep enough, you will take the plunge. If you are not taking the plunge, then you probably have to ask yourself that question. Maybe the desire is not, burning enough. You're kind of happy here. And maybe you need to be happy. I'm not saying that everyone has to keep jumping, right? There will come, phases in your life where you say, okay, fine, I think I want to kind of take it slow this 1 year because I want to focus on other things. But there will also need to come, that phase in your life where you say, okay, fine, I think everything is fine elsewhere now. The plunge and move ahead. So that would be my response to you, Bona. I left after 20 years. Wow. Victim of circumstances and inability to realize it. Exercise a choice to be content. Okay, let's go back and see. Yes, I do remember a line of yours, Neeraja ma'am. Brinda says every interaction is an opportunity. Okay. I'm just going to, if there are any other comments in the beginning which we missed. Uh,
I think you're pretty good. And actually, I'm going to paste some some links in the chat now. So please take a look. If you want to continue the discussion, if we did miss something or you come up with another question for our lovely panelists, we have a LinkedIn discussion group. It's very young. It started a couple of days ago. So please click on that and join, and obviously comment, contribute, etc. And I will definitely tag Neeraja and Sneha if there are any comments specifically for them. So please just head over there. And please tell us some feedback on this session as well. I put in a link to the feedback form, super, super short. You can tell us as little or as much as you want, but at least tell us something so we know how we did. And last but not least is kind of the motivation of why I even thought that we should have this session, which is our youth leadership program, which is the reason why I connected initially with Sneha. And our youth leadership program is starting in a couple of weeks. Applications are due tomorrow. So if you know somebody in the age group of 18 to 25, male or female, anywhere in the world, please have them take a look and potentially apply. But essentially what we've done is we are now running the first pilot of coaching skills as leadership skills, because a lot of us, I would venture to say that all of us who have had coach training, we see how it can apply or how it applies to our daily lives and especially work lives. You know, there's data also on the best leaders, best managers are coaches. That's how you get people to be their best, by coaching them, not telling them what to do. So yeah, coaching skills are awesome. And we have translated the language of coaching and the kinds of skills that we learn as coaches into a program for young people. So please spread the word. We will definitely do more than this particular one, but the first one's starting now. So I'm very excited. And yeah, I want the kinds of amazing women and men as our lovely speaker today, Sneha, to come out of this program. So if someone comes to mind, please share that. But I think we're actually good to wrap up because I don't see any other questions coming in. So if you have anything does come up, please join us on the LinkedIn discussion group. But I will leave it to Neeraja and Sneha to say maybe a few last words. But as for me, you can join me, please, in an hour and a half for a session with Peter Hawkins. And he's always lovely too. So I hope to see you there. Neeraja, Sneha, do you want to sign us off?
Surely. So I will definitely once again thank you, Magda and Kocharya, and this wonderful platform where we are getting to interact and share experiences. As I said, it is experiences. You know, academic research will tell us lots. And then we will say, okay, fine, that kind of works for others. It doesn't work for me. And the reason we thought we would play it out like this is to say that, hey, we are also like you and everybody else is also like us. As I was telling you, Magda, each of us may have certain privileges in our life. For example, we have the privilege of being educated and, you know, and hence we can probably do something, but the struggles are the same. So while it is our responsibility and each of us will take the responsibility to make changes around us, but also our own responsibility to take it in our hands and see what we can do for ourselves also. And hence, you know, we thought this is how we would like to do the session. Sneha?
And yes, I would like to end with a tiny answer to a question I had left in the previous session. So what is it that makes me this slightly abnormal, slightly different and weird person? It's just these 4 simple points that we've all been following. That's all it takes. You can also do it.
Thank you all for being a great interactive audience and for staying on at, you know, whatever time zones you've come from. And I think it's best for all of us to go and catch our meals.
Sounds like a good plan. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for attending.
So much.
Thank you
Bye.
to our lovely speakers. This was great. and very inspirational. And I will get this recording up on our YouTube channel by tomorrow so that you can share it with a wider audience so that we can continue learning from you.
Sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.